Music festivals have been getting bigger and bigger for decades, but I just went behind the scenes at a music festival myself, and I think if they want to be successful in the years to come, they're gonna have to do something completely different. Sometimes all a person needs is that one missing piece. A $17 lemonade. Festivals have been a fixture of music culture for a while, but recently they've been in a weird place. I don't want to say music festivals on the whole are failing because, factually speaking, they're not. The big ones are still doing well. Even when they're not doing well, they're still doing well. I mean, there were people earlier this year saying that Coachella was in trouble because it didn't sell out as fast as it had in years past. Check it out, guys, I just did 10 backflips in a row. Yeah, but on the 7th, your pinky toe was sticking out. However, while the big festivals do well, the small and mid-sized ones suffer. What is this, a sad mirror for the rest of the economy? There have been nearly 100 festival cancellations just this year. Hangout Fest, Something in the Water, Sick New World, Pitchfork Music Festival. And that one hurts because the headliner was gonna be the monkey that pissed in its own mouth for the Jet Shine On review. He was gearing up for the 20th anniversary tour. While I've been to tons of live shows in the past few years, I hadn't been to a festival since 2022. And frankly, I had no plans to go to one in the future. But then, my inbox was hit with a peculiar email, an invitation to come out to a music festival. Project Pabst. I'll be real, I hadn't heard of this festival before, likely because it started in 2014, stopped in 2017, and only just came back last year. But I was intrigued by the festival. The branding also piqued my interest. It reminded me very much of Boston Calling 2014-2015, which appealed to the part of my brain that thinks good things stopped happening once I hit 25. So I took the email up on its offer and decided to go to Project Pabst. Oh, but wait. Project Pabst is based on the West Coast, and I'm here on the East Coast.
Here I am.
Remember like 2 seconds ago when I said I was intrigued by the festival? Great part of the video. Here's why. First off, Project Pabst is small. Only 2 stages on opposite ends with food trucks, bars, merch tables, and toilets in between. The whole thing is on this stretch of land near the Willamette River. Second, it has an age limit. 21 plus. I can't remember the last time I went to a festival with an age restriction. Third, even if the age limit wasn't there, I think the lineup would send the same message. I apologize to any preteens watching who are just really into Captain Jazz, but this lineup definitely skews older. Death Cab for Cutie, Iggy Pop, Devo. The newest established artist here would be Japanese Breakfast. And fourth, that's it. There's not much else to it. It's a rather unpretentious festival. There are no big brand activations. You don't swing by the Dunkin' Scoop shop and cool down with melted ice cream flavored iced coffee, giveaways, and more. It's music, food, and alcohol.
In the interest of full transparency, Project Pabst did cover my flight and accommodations for the festival. But also for full transparency, a few days before this festival, I moved into a new apartment in a completely different state. And a good chunk of that apartment has not been unboxed yet. My point is, I'm very tired. I haven't gotten a good night's sleep in the past week or so. I'm of course grateful for the opportunity to come out here and check out what the festival is doing, but I did not need to come out here. I'm out here because I think what the festival is doing is very interesting. Also, most importantly, being here takes time away from me beating the new Donkey Kong game, which I still haven't beat yet, and I'm like terrified of going onto the internet and getting it spoiled for me. That's the most important factor in all of this.
I also thought it'd be a great way to go behind the scenes and get not only a better sense of how this festival runs, but also how any festival these days runs. So let's start broadly. How is this festival able to operate? Well, remember how I said earlier there are no big brand activations? Another great part of the video, that's in part because the whole festival is kind of a brand activation. This is where we encounter an unfortunate fact about the music business today. The money often comes from things that aren't music. You may have noticed a familiar word in the festival's name. That's right, it's Project Gotham Racing. This festival is funded exclusively by used copies of Project Gotham Racing for the Xbox. No, for real though, it's Pabst. Pabst Brewing Company, makers of Pabst Blue Ribbon. They're the ones who put this festival on.
My name is Matt Sussler. I'm the vice president of on-premise for the Pabst Brewing Company. On-premise means any place where you purchase your beer on the premises. So bars, restaurants, stadiums. When we started doing this festival, one of the main reasons was we would get asked to be a beer sponsor at a festival. And it would be like the first year of a festival, maybe second year of a festival. And we would, do the sponsorship fee. We would get to the festival and two things that happened. One, they would charge a lot for our beer. They would charge a lot for PBR. We felt it was gouging. And the second part is we would be there in the early years because we are a brand that gets involved early with, certain types of events. And in the following year, some other beer company with more money than us would come out and just, buy the sponsorship, double the price. And so we just kind of said, we were tired of getting on the ground floor of these festivals and then, getting left at the altar next year. So we said, screw it, let's just throw our own festival.
But I didn't just talk with Matt. You see, Portland, Oregon has a reputation for being weird. And I did see some weird in a good way stuff at the festival. I saw a giant unicorn statue. I saw a crowd surfing pickle. I saw a guy with a baseball jersey where the name was Coachella and the number was Knuckles the Echidna. But even still, I am not the foremost authority of Portland, Oregon. I'm not Port the Land, I would need some help to understand the scene more.
My name's Eli Johnson. I'm one of the two owners of Atlas Pizza, Dots Cafe, and the Five and Dime.
We are Dust Bunny, and we play music.
We like to have fun.
And we love fun.
Hell yeah, everyone loves fun. But you know what isn't fun? The rising cost of nearly everything in society. When it comes to expensive things in music, the number one hot potato is ticket prices, which is fair. I just sold my 2014 Kia Soul to afford tickets to see Creed. But it's worth discussing the costs to put on a festival, because those costs are a reason why tickets are so much. So many things that we take for granted at festivals: lighting, security, Wi-Fi, catering, accommodations, simply getting the artists there. We've seen those costs skyrocket in recent years. In fact, even though they're a known beer brand, Pabst is not immune to the expensive nature of live music.
Even more now than in 2014, 2015, the artists, the only way they make money is touring. There's not a lot of ways for artists unless they're licensing their music. So, the artist price goes up. By the way, we're always going to be happy to pay that price because we are artists first. We don't take a cut at the merch table like a lot of festivals do. 100% of the profits that the bands make from selling their merch, they get. We don't take a cut of it. We try to be artist friendly. We're always going to be artist friendly. But along with that, the artist fees have gone up, stage rentals, lighting, advertising, everything has gone up, I would say threefold compared to what it was previously. And that's the economics. We're a really small company. There is, on the team of this on this festival for Pabst, it's 4 people who we have other jobs. I'm a vice president on premise, so I oversee all the bars and restaurants and venues for Pabst in the country. That's my job. Throwing a music festival isn't necessarily my job. It's much more of a high wire act to actually pull it off.
Perhaps the growing expenses are why Project Pabst is smaller compared to the larger festivals that happen on the West Coast. But in turn, I think it's allowed the festival to turn its focus to what's going on right in Portland.
We try to support local, whether it's local artists, local bands, local bars and restaurants.
Sure, there were big names on the lineup, no question. But the acts that really impressed me were smaller, local, or both. Gougeway and Nasal Rod are both based in Portland and killed. Gustav and Sam Austins aren't from Portland, but they were still awesome. Dust Bunny is from Portland, and this was their first festival ever.
It's hard to be present for me anyway, when I'm up there and I know that the stakes are maybe a bit higher. And we still had a bunch of friends visible, which was nice. Family, friends, lovers, enemies. But it was surreal. I think it's hard to be present and enjoy it, I think, when it's a bit bigger scale.
It's also been such an incredible experience to play this as our first festival with the lineup that it is, to share a stage with artists that we look up to and have looked up to since we were angsty teenagers is incredible. It's such an honor for all of us to be here and to be a part of this.
It's not just local artists, though. It's local establishments as well. Atlas Pizza, for example, has served the city of Portland for over 10 years.
The neighborhood will tell you what it wants, and we were lucky enough that the neighborhood wanted pizza because they came in and they'd asked for it, and they liked our pizza, so they kept coming in. And we just tried to be fair, be affordable, have good pizza, use good ingredients. You know, we make our own meatballs, our own sausage, our own dressings, our dough, our sauce. Like, you know, we try and do everything right. And I think that in Portland, people consider that kind of gumption and local get after it to be valuable.
A festival bringing in local elements isn't a new thing. Pabst didn't invent it. But there's a deeper connection here than how it looks on the surface. Pabst choosing Portland as the place for this festival was not random. A bit of history for you. From the 1980s to the late 2000s, Pabst was not doing well. Its 30% market share in 1980 dropped to 5% in 2000. Pabst then spent the next decade turning that ship around thanks to savvy marketing and word of mouth. Of course, it then became a bit of a meme as the preferred beer for 2010s millennial hipsters, but hey, success is a bit of a monkey's paw. You can achieve your goals, but not always in the way you intend. And there was no area in the US that drank PBR up as much as Portland, Oregon. I think it would be too reductive to outright say Portland saved Pabst, but it's a sentiment that came across when I spoke to Matt.
As a Portlander, because I'm from Portland, we have a lot of pride in bringing the festival here. The city has, gone through some changes, and the city has been great for Pabst for a long time. It's been our number one market since the beginning of the resurgence of Pabst. So when we started this festival back in 2014, it was kind of a thank you to the city.
In fact, what really intrigued me about this relationship was how it seems to have flipped in the 2020s. Pabst, by all accounts, is doing fine now. But following its explosion in 2010's media, Portland's reputation turned a bit sour. Sounds like they should have put a bird on it. Like that show where they put birds on things. I've never really watched Portlandia. According to Matt, that downward trend has since reversed, but its lingering shadow was a reason why, when the festival returned after a 7-year break in 2024, it came back to Portland.
When we brought it back, obviously during pandemic, you can't have a festival, but when we brought it back, the city had taken some lumps, nationally in the media, and we wanted to be one of the first brands to come back and say, hey, this is still a great city. Come see it. Let's do this again.
And in that sentiment is the idea I want to leave you with. If they want to succeed, music festivals need to focus on one thing going forward: community. I think we sometimes fixate on festivals as these giant extravaganzas where only artists with 1 million Spotify monthly listeners can play and only rich kids and influencers can attend. And okay, the big ones sometimes earn that reputation. But festivals can come in all shapes and sizes, and I'd even argue they should come in all shapes and sizes. What I see here is a symbiotic relationship between a company and a city coming together to celebrate a community.
You could tell PBR is never trying to make money on the festival, and they probably don't, which bums me out because I love PBR and I love the people that put on the fest. There goes Matt Slessler right now walking down. Dude, when I bought Dots Cafe, our first bar, he was on our softball team as a beer rep.
At the end of the day, isn't that what festivals should be? A way to celebrate all aspects of a community?
I've made so many friends just from playing shows, and those friends always come to our shows. Like even today when, more people came throughout the set, but like initially, there was just a small little group at the front, and like everyone, like just like looking out there and seeing all the same faces I see playing, like any local little venue or something. just warms my heart.
I think the festivals that will be successful going forward will scale down in terms of size, location, and genres. They won't try to satisfy every single possible person. And there have already been success stories for festivals that take this approach. While Coachella 2025 dealt with doom and gloom think pieces, its smaller, country-centric cousin, Stagecoach, did super well, probably because Creed was there. So did When We Were Young last year, the festival equivalent of a MySpace page. Beats for Love for dance music, See Here Now for alternative rock and pop, Newport Folk Festival for harsh noise wall, because that's what festivals should be about. Coming together with friends and like-minded people to take part in the world around you and share the experience of live music.
Over the years, I've had a pretty good view from my friends that help put this on and the people that work it. And every year you see a lot of the same people, bartending, setting up, working sound, the electrician. And so we've all gotten to know each other, and we all say hi even when the festival's not going, because we all live here, you know? And I can't say that it's changed much. Every year, it's f***ing rad.
This city has never stopped supporting us, and they continue to. And it's also why we wanted to be, like I said, one of the first ones back, because we thought it would be bullshit if we sat here and said, when everything was great, here we are, we're throwing a party. But in 2024 and now 2025, we wanted to be there to kind of have our hands and hopefully do our part to lift the city up and showcase it a little bit, and just see you're 70 miles from the ocean, you're 60 miles from the mountain, you have this amazing food scene, this amazing beer scene, you have all these great things. The weather's fantastic, and we love hopefully being able to help put a spotlight on this city that we love so much.
Music is for the people. Music is very human. In Portland, it still sometimes feels that way. Not always, but sometimes. More than in other cities, I would say.
But I want to hear from you now. What do you think of music festivals today? Do you still regularly attend? Have you sworn them off completely? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to learn more about the world of live sound, check out this video where we look at the Toll Concerts take on the people behind the scenes.